Good morning, children. Welcome to session 3, Story of Microorganisms, part 2. So, already in the previous session, we studied about medicinal use of microorganisms like fungi in the preparation of antibiotics. Antibiotics like streptomycin, chloromycin, erythromycin, tetracycline, like this. And also, we learned about why we should not take antibiotics unnecessarily and excessively. And even we studied about the story behind the discovery of penicillin, and even we studied about Ella Pragada Subbarao and tetracycline, and we studied about how the vaccine works. Okay, what is the mechanism behind the working of a vaccine, and even we studied about there's a polio vaccines. Normal polio vaccine was prepared by Jonas Salk, while today we are using this oral polio vaccine, and that was given by this Albert Sabin. Right, and now let's come to our today's topic. That is a Jenner's experiment on smallpox. Here when you observe this picture, you can find that this is Edward Jenner, and this Jenner is giving the vaccine, that is a smallpox vaccine, to the child. Okay, now let's see how he is able to prepare that, and what is the story behind that. Edward Jenner, at the time, he observed very carefully that milkmaids, that means the people who grow this, cattle. Cattle means, say, this cow, ox, buffalo, like these animals. No, these milkmaids, they commonly got a very simple disease, that is a cowpox. So, the milkmaids who developed this cowpox did not develop this smallpox disease. This was identified and observed by this Edward Jenner. So by getting this smallpox, the people developed resistance against smallpox. So this was observed by this Edward Jenner, and in the 1796, what he did means, when a person is suffering from this cowpox, over the skin we can find some bubble-like structures. We call them as pustules. From that pustule, the fluid comes out, and so he collected that fluid, and that fluid is inoculated. Inoculated means injected into a 8 years boy. 8 years boy with the permission of his parents. Right? He injected this fluid from this cowpox pustule, and later, 6 weeks later, after 6 weeks, he exposed that boy to smallpox. That means he injected this smallpox microorganisms into that boy. But surprisingly, the boy did not got this smallpox. So, by this simple experiment, he prepared this vaccine for the smallpox. Okay, and so this is a way how this Edward Jenner prepared a vaccine for this smallpox. Okay, and because of this, so that means by taking this as an advantage, many people, many scientists, they started developing vaccines for different types of diseases. Actually, the word vaccine come from a word that is waka, which means a cow. Okay, why means nowadays most of these vaccines are prepared from this large animals like a cow, ox, buffalo, horses, like these animals, right? So this is a way how this Edward Jenner prepared a vaccine for the smallpox. Okay, and this is a picture. We can find Edward Jenner injecting this smallpox vaccine to this baby or the child. Got it? Okay, now soil microbes in soil fertility. Already we learned that these microorganisms are present everywhere around us. That means they are present in the air, water, soil, inside the living organisms and outside the living organisms, like this. Right? Now let's see what is the use of microorganisms in improving the fertility of the soil, productivity of the soil? Actually in atmosphere, we can find 78% of nitrogen. This is said to be the major gas in atmosphere. What is the next major gas in atmosphere? Yeah, that is oxygen, that is around 21%, right? So it is present in large amounts in the atmosphere, and this nitrogen is very very important for the plants, especially to synthesize the proteins. Synthesize means to prepare the proteins by the plants, and also to keep the leaves green. So why the leaves must be green in color? So when the leaves are green in color, then only the plants are able to carry out photosynthesis, and they are able to prepare food materials. Correct? So for these two, they need large amounts of nitrogen, but actually directly from atmosphere, the plants cannot obtain this nitrogen. So you may get the doubt, then how the microorganisms, these plants can get this nitrogen? Means for this we can find some microorganisms like rhizobium, nasdaq, anabina, then azotobacter. So these are the bacteria which can be found inside the soil. So why we are talking about them? Means these microorganisms, these bacteria, they have the capacity to absorb nitrogen from atmosphere and convert that nitrogen into nitrogen compounds. Nitrogen compounds. Nitrogen compounds means we can say nitrites and nitrites, nitrites and nitrates, right? So the plants can prepare, or the plants can use the nitrogen only in the form of nitrites or nitrates, but directly this nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen, cannot be used by the plants. So what is the use of these microorganisms? Means these microorganisms are able to convert free nitrogen or atmospheric nitrogen into this nitrites and the nitrates and supply them to the soil. So from the soil, the plants will absorb these nitrogen compounds and use them for their own purpose, right? So this is a way how these soil microbes help in increasing the soil fertility. And even we can find some other microorganisms which are present inside inside the soil, like bacteria, then fungi. What they do means, see, daily we are dumping different types of waste materials over the soil. Like say this, we can find that plants are removing their leaves, fruits, flowers are falling down. Okay, in this way, there are also said to be some type of waste material, and we are dumping some say this kitchen waste, then all these things to outside, right? So when these waste materials are present over the soil, these microorganisms, what they do means convert they convert large complex molecules into simple molecules. Correct. Whatever the large molecules like proteins, then the carbohydrates and fats which are present in that waste materials, they are converted into their simple form. That is proteins into these amino acids like this. Correct. So in this way, when complex molecules are converted into simple molecules and they are added to the soil, then what happens means the fertility of the soil increases. Got it. So that's the reason why we add all these waste materials like kitchen waste and then this plant waste materials to the soil or into our garden. Have you seen that? Our parents or our grandparents are pouring all these waste materials into our garden. Why means, after few days, these waste materials are converted into this manure, right? And here the next concept, that is Bt. What is meant by Bt means it is the name of a bacteria, that is Bacillus thuringiensis, Bacillus thuringiensis. And what is the capacity of this bacteria means this bacteria will produce a toxin. Toxin means poison, and that poison can kill the pest, that is present over the plants. Okay, that's why generally we use this bacteria as a biopesticide. Pesticide. What is meant by pesticide means the chemical which can control the pest or which can kill the pest, that can be called as a pesticide. And as it is prepared from living organisms, we call that as a biopesticide. So this bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis, can be used as a biopesticides. Generally we can find some special plants which can be called as transgenic plants. Have you seen this? Transgenic plants. Transgenic plants means genetically modified plants. Got it? So in these plants, what we do means, see the gene which is able to prepare this poison or a toxin from this bacteria Bt, that gene is separated from the bacteria and that toxin is added to the plants, so that the plant is also able to produce that toxin, and so that the plant will not get any pest. That means the plant itself will get resistance against this pest. So no need to add any pesticide to that plants. Got it? So what we call such plants means we call them as a transgenic plants or genetically modified plants, GMP, which means genetically modified plants. Okay, and what are the good examples for them means that is Bt cotton and Bt brinjal. Bt cotton and Bt brinjal. So yeah, Bt, what is meant by Bt means Bacillus thuringiensis. Got it? So this is a way how this soil microorganisms help in improving the fertility of the soil, especially by converting atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogen compounds like nitrites and nitrates. Okay, and then a Bt means a Bacillus thuringiensis, and this poison can act as a biopesticide. Okay, that's why we can use this bacteria in some other crop plants. Okay, so what do you call such plants? We call them as genetically modified plants or transgenic plants. Got it? Okay, now, so yeah, we can find the picture, and what is this means. This is nostoc and anabina, nostoc, anabina. This is rhizobium. Where you can find this rhizobium? Yeah, in leguminous plants like beans, then grams. Grams means pulses, all the types of pulses, and then a groundnut like this. And this is another one, azotobacter. So these are the four types of examples for the bacteria which can convert this free nitrogen into nitrogen compounds like nitrites and nitrates, right? Now this is an activity, and for this activity what you have to do means you can take 2 beakers, or you can take if a beakers are not available, you can go to your garden, and in a corner of the garden you have to dig smaller pits. Okay, and in a first pit, or in a first bowl or a first jar, what you have to do means first half of that pit is to be filled with loose soil. Okay, this is a loose soil, soil which is like a powder, in the form of a powder, that is called a loose soil. And then we need to add this fallen leaves. Fallen leaves means the plant materials which are fallen from the plants, and then this is kitchen waste, and then paper. So in this way, with these four, what you have to do means we have to fill that. Okay, and again over the top we have to add this. We have to add. Correct? Okay, this is in case of first one, and in case of a second pit or a second jar, what you have to do? So first, half of the pit is to be covered with loose soil, and then we need to take some plastic waste, and then polythene covers, and even we have to add some glass pieces, right? Got it. So this is the way we need to add the substances into these two pits. Okay. So in the first pit, which one? In the first pit, we have to add loose soil, then fallen leaves, kitchen waste, and the paper. And in case of second one, in case of second, what you have to do? We have to add soil, then a plastic, polythene covers, and even lesser glass pieces. And then later, what you have to do? Yeah, right? So here, loose soil, the next plant leaves, the next vegetable waste, kitchen waste, the next paper, and then again soil like this. Okay, and in the same way here also we have to add soil, the next over that plastic waste, the next polythene covers, and then say this glass pieces, and again soil. Got it? In this way we have to fill them, and later what we have to do daily, we need to sprinkle water. We need to sprinkle water. Okay, sprinkle means, that means we need to add a little amount of water. Okay, so this is to be continued for 3 to 4 weeks, and after 3 to 4 weeks, what we have to do? We need to remove this soil, upper soil, and we have to observe for all this content. Now here, can you find any change? Yes. So whatever the waste materials we added here, like say this kitchen waste, fallen leaves, and the next paper, all these things they decomposed. They decompose and convert into manure. Convert into manure. But what about this one? So whatever the waste we dumped in this, so those waste materials are present as it is. As it is. So from this activity, what you can identify or what you can observe means, so these are biological waste. Biological waste, they are able to decompose in the soil and convert into manure. But what about this? Polythene, the next plastic, and the glass, they are artificial substances. Okay, that's why they will not they will not decompose. Got it? Okay, that's the reason why our government is advising the public not to use this plastic, then a polythene, all these things. Got it, children? Okay, and with this we come to the end of this session. Thank you.